I'm going to show you how to use the hand to solve for all the trig functions on the unit circle. Okay, let's start out with just teaching you guys the part about the unit circle. So if you guys remember your unit circle, it breaks up into 5 different pieces into each quadrant. You got your 0 radians, you got your pi over 6, your pi over 4, your pi over 3, and your pi over 2. Now if you notice, there are 5 different breakups here, and you have 5 fingers, okay? That's going to be the trick here. The thumb is going to represent the pi over 2, index pi over 3, middle finger pi over 4, ring finger pi over 6, and 0 is going to be your pinky finger. Okay, let's just do a few problems here. So let's do sine of pi over 6, cosine of pi over 6 as well, sine of pi over 4, cosine of pi over 3, cosine of pi over 2, sine of pi over 2. Okay, now here's the first trick. Whenever you see a sine or a cosine, you're going to immediately write down square root over 2. And we're just going to be filling in that blank on the square root. So just write this down on all of them. And that's whenever you see a sine or a cosine. So I'll write that rule up here. Sine or cosine, square root over 2. Okay? Now, let's do the first one, pi over 6. That's going to be our ring finger. We put it down. For sine values, you count up. For cosine values, you count down. Okay? So sine values, we're going to count up until we hit that finger that's down. 1. That goes right there. That can be simplified to 1 over 2. Okay, next one, cosine of pi over 6. Put down the ring finger for pi over 6. Cosine has 1, 2, 3. Okay, pi over 4. We count up for sine, 1, 2. Okay, pi over 3 is going to be this finger, the index. We put it down, and we're doing cosine, so it would have 1 finger up, which can simplify to 1/2. Cosine of pi over 2. We put down the thumb. There is nothing before you hit the finger that's down, so it is 0. 0 divided by 2 is 0. Okay, last thing, sine of pi over 2. That's going to be this one. You count up until you hit that finger that's down. 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Okay, that's for cosines and sines. Let's go on to the reciprocal of that. If you see secant or cosecant, if you see one of those, you put 2 over square root. It's the reciprocal. It's the flipping of it. So let's do these exact same ones, but with secant and cosecant. Okay, it's going to change all of these answers. Okay, I'm just going to pick whatever. Secant, cosecant, cosecant, secant, secant, cosecant. Okay, now remember, when I said whenever you see one of these, you write 2 over square root. So that's what I'm going to be writing right here. Okay, now we're going to be filling in the blank spots on the bottom instead. So first one, put down pi over 6. That's the ring finger. Secant is the same as cosine. So we're going to be counting this way. 1, 2, 3. Yes? And you should rationalize that if you know how. If not, come ask me. Okay, next one, pi over 6. Cosecant is the same as sine. 1. That's the same as 2. Yeah? If you rationalize this one, so you know it's 2 square root of 3 over 2, which is just square root of 3. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, over 3. My bad. So it's just 2 square root of 3 over 3. Okay, next one. Cosecant of pi over 4. That's the middle finger. Put it down. It's the same as sine. There's 2 of them. Yeah? If you rationalize it, it's 2 square root of 2 over 2. Cancel just square root of 2. Okay, pi over 3. Secant is the same as cosine. That's 1. Which is the same as 2. Okay, pi over 2. Secant, pi over 2 is this one. Secant is the same as cosine, which there are none. You cannot divide by 0. This is undefined. It does not exist. Next one, pi over 2 again. It's cosecant. That's the same as sine. 1, 2, 3, 4. Square root of 4 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. And that's how you do secant and cosecant. Last one, tangent and cotangent. Whenever you see these, it's square root over square root. So let's do these exact same ones, but with tangent and cotangent. Okay, just making them up here. Tangent, cotangent, cotangent, tangent, cotangent, tangent. Okay, we're going to write on every single one of those, since we saw sine, tangent or cotangent, we're going to write square root over square root. 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 And we're filling them both in. Remember, tangent is the same as sine over cosine. Cotangent is the same as cosine over sine. So we're just going to count the number of fingers we have for each one of those. So first one, pi over 6. Tangent is the same as sine over cosine. So sine is this one, 1 divided by 3. And then you're going to simplify it, which this would be 1 over square root of 3, and then rationalize it, which this one would be square root of 3 over 3. I don't know if you can see way over there. Square root of 3 over 3. Okay, next one, cotangent of pi over 6. Now remember, it's cosine over sine. Cosines is 1, 2, 3. Sine is 1. So it's 3 over 1. Just simplifies the square root of 3. Cotangent of pi over 4. Okay, cotangent is cosine over sine. 1, 2 over 1, 2. That simplifies to 1. Pi over 3. Put it down. Tangent is sine over cosine. 1, 2, 3 over 1. Simplify, square root of 3. Yes? Okay, cotangent of pi over 2. Remember, it is cotangent is cosine over sine. 0 over 4. That makes 0. Last one, pi over 2. It's going to be sine divided by cosine. 4 divided by 0. You cannot divide by 0. That is undefined. There is no value there. Okay, that's how you do the first quadrant for all of them.